Hey guys, it's the Bottom Line View here with Dylan. And first off, before we start, I just want to say thank you WWE for giving us a show that we appreciate. And there are a lot of memories from this show. I can already tell that this show is gonna go down as one of the best so far in WrestleMania history. Um, just the moments that happened tonight were awesome. I think Dylan can agree with that. And just most of the matches were very good, epic matches. And I just want to thank WrestleMania and WWE for making some smart choices tonight, giving the fans a show to be entertained because they are world wrestling entertainment, and that's what they're supposed to do is entertain people. And they don't always do that, but tonight they did me. Dylan, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's really good over here. Wasn't able to speak about last week's Raw, unfortunately, with you.
Yeah,
So a lot of stuff didn't get talked about. But now we're here. WrestleMania 31 just ended. Pretty dang good show. And we're here to discuss something that I think we're going to enjoy talking about.
yeah. Like on the review, on my preview for WrestleMania, I was saying, please WWE come on here and rant. I do not want to rant. I want to appreciate, and that's what me and Dylan are going to do tonight for the most part. There are parts that we both didn't like or didn't agree with. Maybe that's a better word. But let's get into the review. Any thoughts first off before we start getting into the matches?
Um, I think it was a really good show, as we stated. I personally said on one of my Twitter, I would say one of the top five, maybe or 10, maybe even five WrestleManias of all time. It was a really great show. And again, as you said, there were certain parts of the show we didn't like, as it comes to this guy right here. But it was still. We'll get into that for sure.
Okay. I just thought that the presentation, the stage, the fans, everything that went in on behind the scenes, other than just the matches themselves, even the announcers and the pre-show and everything, this WrestleMania felt like WrestleMania to me when I was watching it, and before the show, all the packages, the pre-match packages to get you pumped up about the show, get you pumped up about the matches that were coming up. I thought they did a really good job presenting this WrestleMania. Did you like that also, or did you weren't a fan of some of the packages and the stage and
Oh, I like when they go all out for WrestleMania because it's the one time a year where their stage quality or the look of it is different from everything else on what they usually do. And video packages, they put a lot of time into it. This is when they put the most effort into their show, and you can really see it on this show.
yeah, I definitely feel like there's a big distinction from last year and this year. Just even just the different feeling of being in a dome or in a dome compared to in a stadium with a roof. It was just such a big difference from last year that I could tell. The stage was pretty awesome, even though I wasn't a fan of the sign as we've been talking about. I thought they really made the stage look really cool. And the presentation, as WWE always does, was very good. So let's get into the matches. Pre-show matches, two pre-show matches that me and Dylan weren't really excited about having on the pre-show. We didn't really like that they had two pre-show matches, but we'll talk about why that is later. Um, the first pre-show match was the tag team titles, Fatal 4-Way tag team title match between Kid and Cesaro, the Usos, Los Matadores, and New Day. How did you think this match went overall? And did you like the decision to retain the titles for Kid and Cesaro?
I definitely think it was the best decision to keep it on Kid Cesaro because they're my favorite tag team out of the four, and they're really the only ones that deserve it out of the four. It was a lot of good action, but this was such a complete clusterfuck. Like there was so many guys coming in, so many guys that didn't know who was the legal man. And I guess it played up into the story, but it was a good match with good action. I just didn't really like it because there were so many guys going in at once, and they didn't know who the legal man was all the time.
I think that's kind of the difficulty with a Fatal 4-Way tag team match. You don't always know who the legal man is with the different tags where you can tag other teams. So I think in that way I kind of agree with you, but I thought that the action made up for it. I thought there were a lot of cool spots in the match. I definitely liked this match. It was a way to start the pre-show at least. I don't know how many people actually watched this match compared to the WrestleMania itself. But this match was really good, and as we'll get into the card, I didn't think that there was really any match that disappointed. This match was a good way to start the show. I like that Kid and Cesaro retained the belts. There's no one really else that they could have given it to. We've seen the Usos with the title for a while. The New Day, just a horrible gimmick. Actually, Kofi had a really good match. Biggie Langston was okay. Los Matadores even performed pretty well. They had a few spots together as teams that looked good. And Cesaro was definitely probably the best superstar in this match in terms of wrestling and his moves that he pulled off. And also, Kid definitely deserves this. So I'm excited to see what happens in the tag team division, even though one of the Usos is injured. So I don't know who's going to step up, if they're actually going to continue with the Usos feuding, or if they're going to continue these 4 teams feuding over the belts. I'm not sure. What do you think, Dylan? Do you think moving forward that these teams are fighting for the belts?
It would be interesting to see more tag teams get in the tag title hunt. That's why they had this match happen. So it will be interesting to see what kind of teams will be up there. If we have all 4 again, or if we're having one of them split off, it will be interesting because I like, even though we've been writing about the tag division the last couple of weeks, I like how they made it worth it with this match. So it's going to be interesting to see as the next couple of weeks what kind of teams we're going to get against Kid and Cesaro.
I think this match could have been so much better if it felt legit, that the New Day or the Lost Matadors would have actually won the match. Like, really, when they were going for pins and stuff, you were like, they're not going to win anyway. So that kind of took intrigue away from the match. But I think if they continue to build these teams up, even though the gimmicks aren't great, they can pull off good matches. And then you all have the primetime players, who's another team that they could potentially throw in as well. So we'll see what the tag team division does from here. But I like the decision to retain the titles for Kid and Cesaro. The next pre-show match was the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Dylan, talk about why, because I know you specifically were disappointed. You actually sent me a DM on Twitter saying, did you hear about the Andre the Giant Battle Royal being in the pre-show? So before WrestleMania, how did you feel about this being in the pre-show?
When I saw that it was going to be on the pre-show, I was disappointed because last year they had the Battle Royal. It was significant. They had Cesaro win it in a big fashion. They had the guy be, somewhat get pushed. He was going to go up to the next level. When I heard this pre-show match was coming on, I didn't like the decision because you put effort into having this match, and when it's going to be on the pre-show, it's obviously not going to be looked at as greatly as it would be on the regular show, on the pay-per-view. So I wasn't happy that it was going to be on the pre-show to begin with.
All right, yeah, same with me. I thought that they could have fit this on the show, but obviously they couldn't because they went in on the show. And they had another segment that we'll talk about later that was pretty lengthy. But this match was not bad for a Battle Royal, and I think they executed this in particular a lot better than they did the Royal Rumble. Just in the manner of actually at what time stars would get eliminated, a lot of sense. Like, okay, let's get the jobbers out of the match first. Okay, that makes sense, although I didn't like that Curtis Axel got eliminated right off the bat. But, like, Fandango was gone quick, Adam Rose was gone quick, and the guys that were in the ring last were Mizdow, Big Show, who ended up winning the match, Kane, even Eric Rowan, Goldust, and the other one was Kane. No, not Kane. Did I miss somebody? Ryback? Did I say Ryback?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those were the last guys in the match. I like that fact that those guys were the last guys in the match because you were like, okay, these guys, or at least most of these guys, could potentially win the match. So that part of the match. Then the ending, though. Are you happy with Big Show winning the match? I'm not. I have feelings about it because I know Big Show has been compared to Andre the Giant his whole career. They want to pay him off for being such a legendary superstar for their company and yada, yada, yada. He's not really had a big WrestleMania. Giving this moment Big Show, they're kind of like, sending him off maybe. Potentially it's his last match at WrestleMania. How did you feel about it?
As we stated before, I think Big Show and Kane have overstayed their welcome in the ring. So having them win this match feels good, but again, on the pre-show. If they wanted to have a sentimental moment for me, you should have done it on the show. I mean, there probably could have been a way to find a time to put this on the show for even a 10-minute match. I don't think it takes that long to do it. So I'm kind of mixed about it because I don't think he should have won the match. I think another guy that we'll talk about in a minute should have won this match. But I think it doesn't piss me off that he did win. It's just I don't like it.
In my initial predictions, actually, I had Ryback winning. But then with my friends, we do predictions of the matches and see who gets all them right and stuff. So before the match actually started, I predicted Mizdow to win. And that's the guy that I thought should have won this match. I know you probably feel the same way.
Yep.
Okay, so again, Mizdow finally turns on the Miz. The fans were actually really into this match, and they were rooting on Mizdow. And Mizdow turns on the Miz, throws him out, and then Mizdow and Big Show are in the ring. Now, my friends around me were saying, well, Big Show's going to win now. How would they make Mizdow eliminate Big Show by himself? Which, I don't know if you could have seen that happening. I think it would have been better if Miz and Mizdow would have maybe still teamed up to take the out, and then Mizdow turned on the Miz at the end to win. I think that would have been the best way to execute it.
Yeah, I think that was the way I was going for it as well. I wanted that to happen because it makes more sense and it puts Mizdow over as the winner. So and also having that turn as well. So.
Yeah. All right. So overall, what did you think of the first two matches on the pre-show?
They were both good matches on the show. I like that they put. I don't like that they put these matches on the pre-show, but they were still entertaining and they were a good little start to the whole show itself.
Yes, I think if looking back on it, I think I would have probably swapped the Battle Royal and the Divas match for times in the pre-show and on the main card. But overall, good matches to start WrestleMania and good pre-show matches overall. Let's get into the main card and a big match starting off because I was really excited for this match. I know you were too. The Intercontinental Championship match, ladder match, the 7-man, Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, Luke Harper, Wade Barrett, Ambrose, R-Truth. Is that it?
I'm trying to think. It's hard to remember all these guys until you get to, like, spots in the matches.
And Stardust.
Stardust.
That's 7 guys. All right. So, first off, did you like that Daniel Bryan won the title?
Oh, yeah. Daniel Bryan, there was 3 guys I wanted to win this match, which was Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, or Dean Ambrose. And having Daniel Bryan win the title, I think puts some more legitimacy into the title. So I was very happy that he won the belt.
I was happy as well for more than one reason. You guys know how Dolph Ziggler is one of my favorites. I like that Daniel Bryan was the one to, Dolph Ziggler and Daniel Bryan were the last guys on the ladder. Daniel Bryan took him off, got the strap, or whatever. But I like that they appeased the fans of Daniel Bryan. I like that they kind of gave Daniel Bryan fans in the crowd, because there was a lot of them, their moment for him to win the Intercontinental Championship. And that's going to be a bigger title going forward. You got to bet that WWE is going to have more primetime matches with this title because Daniel Bryan is holding it. Now, who is he going to face? I think it's probably going to be Dolph Ziggler. Wade Barrett's going to have a shot. Dean Ambrose, maybe. I'm interested to see where Dean Ambrose goes. Dean Ambrose had a hell of a spot where he was taken out of the match. There were a lot of crazy spots in this match. Not as crazy as some ladder matches that we've seen, but definitely a good overall ladder match that I was expecting to tear the house down early. I thought it was a good match. I think it could have went a little longer. I think they maybe shortened it a little too much, but I like the match, and I like the decision giving Daniel Bryan the belt. Gives legitimacy, as you said. I would have been happy with Ziggler or Ambrose as well, but definitely guys. Dylan, any other stuff to talk about? The Intercontinental scene now, the match itself. What do you want to talk about?
I'll talk about the match, and then I'll talk about where we're going after this. The match I thought was really good. As I said, it was to Mitch. I DM'd him and said it was a really great match until we got to the rest of the show, and the rest of the show did even better. But it was a really good match to start off the show. It's something that pumps up the crowd to get them ready for the whole show. And there was a lot of cool spots. Luke Harper powerbombed Dean Ambrose through a table or through a ladder. A lot of cool spots. The Stardust superplex off a really tall ladder. It was about 18 feet or something like that. So a lot of cool moments to see in a ladder match in the end. Daniel Bryan beat Dolph Ziggler with an incredible amount of headbutts. So it was cool to see. It's weird to say that. It was cool to see Daniel Bryan get the title, and as we said, put legitimacy, because this title has been going around to a lot of people, and now we can have somebody who has won the world title come back and be an Intercontinental Champion and defend it against somebody. And now where we're going, I hope it's against Dolph Ziggler, because we can see a lot of singles matches. That'd be very entertaining to watch. But to see Daniel Bryan be a first-time Intercontinental Champion brings some new life into the Intercontinental Championship scene. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. He has now won every single title in WWE.
Yeah.
So Daniel Bryan fans, there you go. But I'm really excited to hopefully see Daniel Bryan versus Dolph Ziggler matches, because I know that they can put on a hell of a show. The one thing that was cool about Dolph Ziggler in this match was how freaking fast the guy went up the ladder.
Yeah, there was a couple of times, especially one time, Bryan's getting the title, and he just runs up there as fast as he can. Which, if you've ever seen a ladder match, they just climb so freaking slow, like it's their last breath. It was weird to see, but it's a good thing he did that, because it made the match even more interesting. Yeah,
so I would give this match a good match. Definitely the right one to start off the show. I thought this was going to start the show, and they made the right decision. Daniel Bryan is the champ and gives legitimacy to the IC belt. Next match, we got Rollins versus Randy Orton. Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. Man, this was a good one. Definitely a lot of good spots in this match, and an insane RKO. Okay, I was like, what is the move that he does off the top rope, where he does like this, like the double spin move, like off the, I don't know what it's called.
It's called a Phoenix Splash. Basically, he'll like do a moonsault, but at the same time he'll do a 450 splash, and it's ridiculous.
Okay, that's what move I thought Randy Orton was gonna hit RKO on. But he hit it on a curb stomp, which was probably more impressive because he was going for the curb stomp. He like looked like he hit like his shoulder near his neck, bounced off his neck, RKOs him for the finish. Awesome finish. Like I thought maybe Rollins. What was the decider here is I thought it was more likely that Rollins was going to win the belt tonight if Orton won. So Orton won, so I was like, okay, maybe Rollins is going to cash in later, which we'll get to. But Randy Orton but Rollins doesn't win, which I was leaning both ways. It was kind of an unpredictable match, and it was really good. And I liked the rivalry going up. This was a match that was expected to be good because the build-up was good. A lot of these matches didn't have a great build-up, so the match kind of seemed a lot better than it was supposed to be. Dylan, what did you think about this match? Where do you think Orton's going to go? I haven't talked about that yet. I'll respond to you. And where do you think Rollins is going to go after winning the belt? And what are your thoughts on that?
The match was really good. This and a couple matches. I mean, this was the one that was built up the most we saw on Raw, probably of the whole card was the build-up we saw the most of between this match. So we got to see what was going to happen going into the match, and it turned out really well. These guys are two really good athletes, and they put on a really good match. I didn't expect it to be all that great, but I was happy that this was the outcome. The RKO out of a curb stomp was insane. I was freaking out about it because the first time I saw it, I thought he literally like went off the screen from an RKO. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So great ending. Probably one of my favorite RKOs. Randy Orton, I'm not 100% sure where he goes from now. He at least beat the Authority, even though we'll see Rollins take that over later. But so he's got to win over the Authority. Maybe he'll do more with them. I'm not sure to be honest with you, but it's going to be interesting what they do with him. As for Rollins, I think we should save Rollins till later in the show because of what we saw in terms of the main event. So
I'm thinking to myself, where is Orton gonna go? He could challenge for the belt because he did beat Seth Rollins, but then again, there's also Roman Reigns, there's Brock Lesnar, so there's too many guys in that picture already. But what do you do with Randy Orton? I don't know. Maybe they have like a fatal four-way match. Who knows, really? But Randy Orton needs some role because the guy has been on freaking point since he's returned. So that's all we have to say about that. We'll find out more tomorrow about Randy Orton. I could see a Brock Lesnar feud maybe in the future.
I think I was kind of expecting that last year when they had that Money in the Bank and we didn't know who was going to be the champion. But I've always kind of wanted to see a Randy Orton Brock Lesnar feud, so that could be interesting if they do something with that.
Yeah, because I think the plans, I'm not sure with The Rock tonight looking like maybe a Triple H match next year, but maybe The Rock versus Lesnar, not sure. We'll see. Next match, we got Sting versus Hunter Helmsley, Triple H, the game. What did you think of Triple H's entrance and Sting's entrance? Obviously, The Rock got Triple H on the joke, but what did you think of Triple H's entrance?
This was goofy. I'm sorry, it did not look intimidating. You've got Terminator in this like metal thing. I don't really even know what to call it, a metal suit or whatever. I didn't think it was all that intimidating. And I was thinking to myself, why are they going to have this match if it's going to turn dark and then they'll have Sting on later? But then I realized as the show went on, the place never went dark. It was like the very last match till it got really dark in the arena. But I actually liked Sting's entrance. It was interesting. I thought it was too goofy for Triple H to come out there and be sponsored by Terminator and then Schwarzenegger with the eye or whatever.
It was really done, like really overdone, but I don't know. It was kind of cool. In my opinion, it was kind of cool. It wasn't really intimidating. Like I know what you're saying in that fashion, but it was still kind of cool. Like I get the thing with WWE. They're always trying to be in with entertainment. Terminator's coming out soon, so I get it. They're being, I guess, I don't know if they're being sponsored by Terminator or if it's just
because I think it's
and stuff.
Yeah, because Arnold just got inducted into their Hall of Fame last night, so
Yeah.
you get a sponsor for the movie. So.
You know what would have been sick though if those robots would have moved.
Yeah, that would have been cool. It just looked like 4 statues going up like this, and it didn't. But yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been cool.
All right. Sting's was cool, of course. I was expecting a good entrance, but the match. Okay, we got Sting, Triple H. To start off, everyone around me like this is a slow match, man. I'm like, what did you expect? It's Triple H. He always has slow matches, and they're like, oh, you're right. And I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? Like, I feel like this isn't a no DQ match, and then King's like, it's a no DQ match, or Michael Cole, or whoever said that. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
When did they announce that shit? Like, what? And then the match starts picking up, and we start getting a WCW versus WWF thing. We got NWO versus DX.
Yeah.
Is it DX that comes? DX comes down first.
Yeah.
Sting's like fighting them off basically, and then the NWO comes down, fights the DX outside the ring. They get in the ring, have some cool moments, and like everyone's like going crazy around. The fans are going nuts. The announcers are going nuts. Like it's a very cool moment with WrestleMania. Then you got Triple H with the sledgehammer, Sting with the bat, breaking the sledgehammer, which was already pre-broken, quite obviously. But still cool. And then Shawn Michaels hits a Sweet Chin Music was also cool. I'm like, where's Shawn Michaels?
It was
When's
ridiculous.
Shawn Michaels coming out?
I saw Shawn come out.
The finish was surprising, hitting him with a sledgehammer and then winning, and then them shaking hands. That's interesting because where are they going to go from here? Honestly, where's Sting going? I think Sting's probably going to Taker.
Yeah.
But by the way the match ended, it kind of looked like his last match in a way, which like I think they were being safe by having them shake hands and having a moment for Sting kind of, just in case it's his last match.
Yeah.
And Triple H, the whole DX NWO thing was really cool and brought back memories and just a very good overall match. It started slow but picked up, and the extras definitely helped. Dylan, your turn to talk about this match. Tell me if it's a passable WrestleMania moment match.
Oh, definitely. This is a WrestleMania moment I think everybody should remember. There's a lot of these tonight. Sting, his first WrestleMania match. I don't think it's his last. The handshake, I think, was kind of out of respect because even though Triple H won, Sting proved that he still got it. I feel like with Sting losing this match, I think it's almost. I think it's gonna happen between him and Undertaker at this point. They got to give Sting a win. I feel like, and then have both of those guys go out. That's just the way I see it.
Triple H will have another match?
I don't know. I don't think. Where would you have it? Would you have it at the next year's WrestleMania? Would you have it at a SummerSlam? Where would you have it?
Possibly. Or if Sting could wrestle somebody else, I don't know.
I feel like that they kind of had that match, and then I feel like they'll go on to Taker. I think that's why he lost this match because everybody was expecting Sting to win, but with this, I feel like it's almost guaranteed that we'll have a match later on. In my opinion.
Now, if Sting and Taker have their match at WrestleMania 32, and
right.
Now that Taker has won, now that Sting has lost, does Sting beat Taker?
I feel like he does. Even though Taker, I feel like the streak doesn't matter as much as it does now, or as it did a year ago, because the streak's already broken. Now you're getting into storyline. So that's what happened with the Bray Wyatt match. It wasn't about the streak because it wasn't there anymore. It's non-existent.
I feel like it kind of would have made more sense if Taker lost, which I'm going to talk about. But
you mean lost his match against Bray Wyatt?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. But this match, I feel like it's a real callback to the late '90s and early 2000s. It was really like this nostalgic moment, and it felt like it was a really good match. Like in the ring, I was really surprised how good it was. To be honest, I was happy that DX came out, NWO came out. I was happy to see Hogan in the black and white. As always.
I was like, Hogan feeling it up.
Hogan was excited. He was doing his poses and everything. They were fighting. It was also kind of seeing another dream match that we never got to see between NWO and DX because unfortunately they never had one. So it was cool to see that. It kind of felt like DX was heel because obviously they're Triple H. Even Shawn Michaels kind of felt like a heel. So it was cool to see that. Kevin Nash is one of my favorites. So seeing him out there even after his Hall of Fame last night, that was cool. The only thing I wasn't so happy about until I thought about it later was Triple H getting the win because it kind of felt like, wow, they're really burying WCW.
Yeah.
It was legacy. which you can make that argument, but at the same time, they gave Sting his moment about Triple H. It was a really good match, and overall, I'm happy about it. I'm glad we got to see something really good out of it.
As we did after the match, I said I didn't think I would be this okay with Sting losing.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
I think they handled Sting's loss very well. I think they executed as well as they could have with having Sting lose, because I know a lot of fans, WCW fans in particular, are pretty pissed off about Sting not winning, and they look at that as basically WWE burying WCW. And I don't think that's the case. I don't really get into that stuff much. I just think Triple H and Sting had a very good match, an entertaining match. And one that will be replayed for years to come. I think this is leading up to a Sting-Taker match that I would be very excited to see. Even though they're both older, so I'm interested to see like if they can both go at the same time. Like, I think Triple H kind of sort of carried this one a bit, but Sting did look good, and I give both men credit and both teams credit for putting on a show. Next match. All right, continue.
I was just gonna say real quickly that I'm actually really impressed with Sting in the ring. He put a drop kick in there, so I was happy to see that.
Yeah, but, I was like, damn.
I was like, Sting, 56-year-old dropping a drop kick. But yeah, he put on some really good moves. So I was happy that the match didn't fail like maybe I thought it was going to be, like in the ring. So
yeah. All right. So another good match, WrestleMania. The Divas match, Paige and AJ versus the Bellas. But before that, we have the Daniel Bryan backstage segment with many Intercontinental champions. What do you think of this segment? I really like the addition of Ron Simmons saying the damn thing, because I haven't seen that in a while. It was a little funny, like nostalgia thing, and really, I think this was another way to appease the Bryan fans. I think, to be honest.
Yeah, it kind of made me happy because you see all these great legends who have held the title. They're giving their praise to Daniel Bryan, who won the belt at WrestleMania. It was really cool. You got to see Pat Patterson. You got to see Ricky Steamboat, Roddy Piper, Bret Hart, Ric Flair. So it was really cool to see all these guys that are considered some of the greatest that have held the belt to be there and give Daniel Bryan props for what he did. So I was very happy about that.
Yeah, I thought that was a good way of WWE doing that and putting over Daniel Bryan. So, what do you think of the Divas match? Okay, we got Paige and AJ beating the Bellas, which the match was decent. It was nothing terrible or great. I think it was probably the worst match at WrestleMania, but I don't think that's a bad thing when a Divas match is your worst match of the night. I don't think that's ever a bad thing.
Yeah.
And Paige and AJ, where do you think they're going from here with the Divas division? Because it made more sense in the direction of the Divas division to have the Bellas win, but maybe this way, I don't know, maybe this way one of them gets a title shot because they won. And I thought Paige actually had the best performance in this match. Dylan, did you like this match? Where do you think they're going from here with the Divas?
I do feel like they gave the Divas some time, as they should be on pay-per-view. Again, like you said, it was the worst match of the night, but it wasn't even a bad match. Like, there was nothing really awful to say about it. It was just kind of one of those matches where we had 3 great matches to start off, and then we had a bunch of kind of filler going into it, so this was going to be part of it. And while, it was okay, but it wasn't anything special, and Paige and AJ got the victory. It's interesting that we're going to get that was the ending to the match, because now we have something to go off of going into the future for the Divas division. I feel like Paige and AJ are going to fight out to see who will be a champion or who's going to get a match against Nikki Bella for the title. But I think it at least creates something interesting leading or going forward. We're not just left with nothing to do. There's something to actually go off of. So it was.
You know what I would be happy with is obviously off with AJ Paige being the frenemy thing, because they just won at WrestleMania. They're gonna do the frenemy thing where they're both facing to see who's the #1 contender. Not sure who they're gonna go with. Who would you think they would go with for that to face Nikki Bella?
I feel like kayfabe wise it would have to be AJ, because Paige has gotten multiple title chances in the last couple of weeks. She's lost a couple of them, even though AJ kind of screwed up her last one on Raw. You know, they messed it up. So I feel like AJ kind of deserves the next opportunity.
I also think that because she's the one that made Nikki tap. So maybe that has something to do with it. But they're going to probably face off. And then after that, after whoever takes the belt off of Nikki, because I think that's happening eventually. You know, she can't just keep the belt forever. I think they're going to go into a legit, actual feud, not involving frenemies. I think they're going to have some jealousy involved. something to do with their relationship evolving to a point of them not liking each other. And I think that could potentially be a good summer feud going forward. And another thing to talk about is, I don't know if you saw this, but during the pre-show, we had Lita doing questions on Twitter, and she was talking about having a potential match at WrestleMania with her and Trish Stratus. They're called the Besties, versus the Bellas. So could you see that happening at a WrestleMania maybe next year? Because we all know they're trying to get as many big names as possible for WrestleMania next year. What would you think about that possibility?
I'm not 100% sold on the idea. I don't think the Bellas really deserve to get the two of the biggest divas in the history of the company. But it would be good to see them wrestle one more match, so I guess so. I guess it would be all right, but
yeah.
It's going to take a long time to get to that point. So
I honestly have mixed feelings just because I think I would rather have AJ and Paige. I think that would make a lot more sense. And
right, yeah. I mean, they're the real frenemies. They're the real tag team that actually, has talent. I don't want to say the Bellas don't, but they have more talent than the Bellas. So, but, I mean, at least seeing Lita and Trish Stratus carrying a match like that would be perfectly fine.
Yeah. Next up, we got a concert. I believe there was a concert after this one, or maybe it was before.
Yeah, I think it was before.
But the concert with Kid Ink, Skylar Grey, Travis Barker, I think that was it. But what do you think of this part? Just a short concert, kind of to tone down the fans and give some entertainment at the same time. I thought it was okay, and it was decent performance. I thought Skylar Grey was really good. I've heard her sing before. She's usually really good. Kid Ink is he's an okay rapper. I've listened to some of his music, but not like a big fan of him. What did you think of this little concert part of WrestleMania? Because they always have it. So.
It's good. I thought it was good. It's just kind of short, like you said, entertainment to kind of tone the crowd down for what they just saw. And it was good. Skylar Grey was really good, as you said. And I've seen a couple concerts at a WrestleMania. 2 years ago when they had P. Diddy was awful.
Yeah,
I thought it was just I thought it was garbage. So at least this one was good. So.
All right. Next up, we got Rusev versus John Cena.
No.
Okay,
gotta show off the shirt for this one.
Ever. I was laughing my ass off. And if you follow me on Twitter, dude, Rusev had an awesome entrance, by the way. And if you don't think it's awesome, screw you, because it was freaking awesome. Okay, he's coming in a tank. You got Lana looking like an. She's coming down. The soldiers, the Russian flag, healing it up like as much heal you can do possibly in the USA. Then you get Cena with like the most face tribute to the USA, to the troops, to the history of the US, the US, and you just got Cena getting booed right off the bat, and then when he comes out, it's John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. How do you get booed, and how do you get called you suck when video just played? Like, oh my god, this guy. Like, seriously.
He's the only guy who can be an American sympathizer, be supportive of the USA, and get booed in the process in his home country. It doesn't work. Like, Hogan was getting cheered out the building at WrestleManias when he's the biggest American supporter of them all. And you have, like, Ronald Reagan and John F. Kennedy talking and speaking. And then all of a sudden you get Cena going, John Cena sucks. It was amazing.
It was hilarious. His facial reactions like, oh, fuck, not again. Like, he's holding his towel.
Like, wow. I would be pissed if that was me. Like, people are booing me. I'm supporting your country, and you're booing me? Like, oh.
Guy's trash. Anyways, though, Cena ends up winning the match, of course, predictable, whatever. Do you think this is a burial of the character of Rusev, or do you think this is just WWE trying to give some legitimacy to the U.S. belt? I kind of feel both, and both ways they kind of hurt Rusev's character, and in another way they gave some legitimacy to the title, having Cena. He does have a lot of fans, and a lot of people hate him a lot. So as Michael Cole says, he gets a reaction out of the fans. But fuck, I don't know. The match was not good. It was quite average. There were some spots. Actually, Rusev impressed me in this match. And Cena pulled out a couple different moves that he usually doesn't. So, Dylan, what do you think of the match? The direction of the U.S. belt, Rusev, Cena.
if there's any implication of how pissed off I was after the ending of this match, I literally threw my trash can down because I was pissed off at the fact that Cena was getting another win against Rusev. That was nice to clean that up. But this match, I still think their match at Fastlane was better. I'm just saying that I actually really last month I thought it was the second best. Actually, I thought it was the best match, second or best match on the show, which you can see Mitch rant about. You can see him rant against me on that. This was not the second best match on the show this time. In fact, it was probably the second worst match on the show. I'm cracking up?
Yeah.
God damn it. I'll try to get through this. Are you still hearing me?
That's
good?
You keep going in and out.
I'll try to keep up.
Let me give my thoughts on this, okay? So okay. Cena, Rusev. Rusev, I thought that they did a damage to his character in the way that he didn't win the match. His streak is broken, okay? So where's Rusev going to go from here? He's lost. His streak, his intimidation loses a lot of oomph for me. Then Cena wins the belt, and in that way, I see how WWE is benefiting off that. Cena winning the belt, possibly having some bigger time matches with more fan attention to the U.S. belt. I see that, okay? But I think if Cena wants to make the most out of this and WWE wants to make the most out of this, they got to have Cena lose to some up-and-coming superstars for that belt. If they have him lose to up-and-coming superstars for that belt, I think it will make the belt bigger, make those superstars bigger, and in turn make WWE better. And Rusev, I don't know what to do with him. They're going to have another match, obviously. I'm not sure if he's going to win, though. Really, I think having Cena break the streak is just the wrong guy. I just don't like that Cena broke the streak. I think you could have had a number of different guys break the streak. There's so many other guys, so many up-and-coming guys that they could have had break the streak. Dylan, who do you think would have better guys break the streak, and how do you feel about Rusev going forward and Cena going forward? Hopefully we can hear you now.
I'm hoping so. I feel like having Cena lose or win against Rusev was the wrong decision. He is a big guy, he's the top guy in the company, obviously. But having him beat Rusev, a new star, again shows that he will never lose to a new star. He might give him heat, he might give him something, but he will never give them that full victory that they need to go on later on. We saw it with Wyatt last year, we saw it with Cesaro, tons of other guys, and it pisses me off. The good thing is that even though I don't like Cena beating Rusev this way, I am glad that he's champion because he's going to give that title a little bit more credibility that it needs to have. Even though Rusev was doing really well with it to begin with.
Yeah.
So
Rusev definitely built it up very well.
Yeah, I feel like he did a really good job. The worst part about the whole thing was that the streak is now over for Rusev, and I don't think it really had to be the end. It was going really well, and to have Cena of all people do it, not a fan of it.
No. I just think you could have had like Dean Ambrose. You could have had like Ryback even. Could have had anybody but Cena. He's trash.
I feel like the only reason that they did it was to make it feel like a big deal. Because if you had like Ambrose beat the streak, it would have been kind of like eh. But having Cena do it, it like proves that it's going to take somebody like a Cena to beat him. Somebody big in the company to beat him.
Yeah, man. But, fuck that shit.
But on the other hand, I'm sick of wearing this shirt, so I'll be right back.
Good idea. Anyways, yeah, Cena's trash. I don't like that guy. He's garbage, and I just don't. At least he's not in the main event. At least he didn't win the WWE title, so I'm positive about that.
Yes.
Moving on.
Yes.
Moving on. Got Dan Bryan fan, so he bandwagon jumped to the 2014, 2015 bandwagon.
Nope. No, I literally told Mitch on my DM, only reason I bought that green shirt, that green lime piece of shit, was that A, I could get 50% off of this shirt, and B, so I could piss him off. And I think he did both. So.
All right, speaking about shirts, Bray Wyatt shirt, I want it. We got Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker next. A match that had mixed emotions for me and for people that I saw on Twitter. Some people on Twitter thought that the match didn't really live up to expectations. I thought that the match was more about storytelling than actual wrestling. I thought the storytelling in this match was very, very well done. The actual wrestling was slow-paced, methodical, a lot like Sting versus Triple H. I think a lot of that had to do with Taker, who was gassed. But I think Bray did a good job. Apparently, he was injured before the match. I'm not sure. But the match went over well, and the fans were really into it. The spot with him and Taker rising up, was obviously awesome. And the only thing is, I thought Bray should have won. You know how I feel about Bray Wyatt.
Yep.
Favorite guy. I think him winning this match would have been very good for the company and for Bray Wyatt as a character moving forward. Where does he go from here? I know losing to Taker at WrestleMania isn't necessarily a bad thing. Doesn't necessarily hurt, but it doesn't give him that push moving forward. But Taker winning, Sting losing, kind of confusing to me. I thought if Sting would have won and Taker winning, I would have been more fine with. But now that Triple H beat Sting and that Taker beat Bray, what does that have to do? Like, I don't get it. Okay, I think Bray. Okay, I think Bray should have won. You know, the new face of fear would have been perfect. Where does Bray go from here? He just lost to Taker. Who does he face?
First off, don't feel bad. You're gonna feel like I have an aneurysm or something. But I feel like it is gonna be. It's weird to see where he's gonna go because I'm not always up in a figure four. But it's weird to see that Taker won, and as you said, Sting lost. I'm not 100% sure why that was the case. But as I explained to Mitch on Twitter, I felt like it was a good thing, or like it wasn't as bad as I think he says it is. I feel like that it was the right thing to do in terms of having Bray have his moment with Undertaker, getting that legitimacy over a top guy, and making it feel like making him feel important, which is a key thing in this. It's in terms of the match, I think they had a good match. Nothing like spectacular, not like a Taker-Michaels match that we've recently put over a lot. But I still think it was a lot better than the match they had last year between him and Lesnar. I think that was like not a good match, but it had a really unexpected result, so that's why it's still talked about. But this match was better. Undertaker actually looked like a real athlete because last year he looked really slow. He looked like he couldn't move for crap. But this year he looked good. He was in good shape, and it looked like he was actually trying. So I was happy with the result. It's going to be interesting to see where both of them go later on. I don't know where Bray Wyatt will go, but I think we'll have to give 24 hours and let Raw show us what's going to happen.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, Orton has nowhere to go. So does that mean Bray Wyatt and Orton have a feud?
That's true. They both don't have anything, so that could be cool. I would like to see how they go into that storyline, though. I would like to see what they would do. In that case, then I think Wyatt absolutely has to win because even though Randy Orton's been really good as we stated, and Bray Wyatt just lost to Taker, I feel like you have to have Bray Wyatt get his momentum back and beat a top star. Even though he might have beaten Ambrose a few months before, he might not have been, or he's still not really technically the guy, yet. So we'll see.
I love Taker. Okay, I said it in my tweet. I wish Bray would have won. Just wanted him to get this win because he hasn't had a real big important win in his career yet. Name like one big win that he's had. It's been a legit victory over a top star. I haven't seen one, and I think he needs one. So maybe Randy Orton could give him that. And beating Rollins gives that momentum as well. So that would be a cool feud. I just would be interested, as Dylan said, to see how they go with that. But apparently Taker and Sting are scheduled for tomorrow's Raw. Is that true?
Yeah, I've heard there's a big possibility of that happening.
So what do you think they do tomorrow on Raw? Or if Bray even gets in that mix, what happens?
I feel like I don't think Bray really does anything with them. Unfortunately, I think that's really the end of it. He might talk some stuff to Taker, but in the end, Taker already knows he beat him. So maybe they do some story between each other, between Taker and Sting. Maybe they do some preliminary build up into their match, hopefully, which would be cool to see.
Dylan, did you just take your camera off because your camera keeps freezing and your audio is like only playing?
Okay, do I sound better?
Yeah.
Okay,
Good.
sorry. Excuse the picture. Again, I'm using my friend's Google account, so looks stupid. But, yeah, my friend James. We had a bunch of different technical problems before the show, so.
Screw Google Plus.
Took about half an hour to get this thing running, before we even set up the link, or after the setup of the link, so whatever. But yeah, I feel like Undertaker and Sting can do some preliminary stuff before or during the show, and hopefully build up to a match later next year. So I will be going to this WrestleMania, so I really hope this happens.
Maybe I'll be going. I'll let you know.
All right, that would be cool to see. That'd be cool.
But are we gonna do a live review tomorrow?
I feel like we kind of have to. Like, I would be up to it, because last week we wanted to. I felt really sick. I still kind of had that little throat thing, but whatever.
Thank God we didn't.
Yeah, because we would have argued, we would have ranted on that last segment, which I hated. But yeah, I think we have to, because this is a really big Raw.
Really big Raw after a really good WrestleMania. And I'm interested to see what Taker and Sting do. Not exactly sure if they're going to have any exchange. But I think it would be interesting, like maybe one segment just to have, before Sting and Taker have an exchange, maybe have Bray and Taker have an exchange, because Taker and Bray haven't spoken to each other. It's very odd.
Yeah. Bray's like, oh, well, I'm the new face of fear, and then Undertaker's just rest in peace and beats him. So maybe they do some talking for once. You never know.
All right. Next, I believe this was, no, it was actually before this. But we'll talk about The Rock and Ronda Rousey, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon. It's definitely worthy of talking about. And whenever you have The Rock in a segment, it's worth talking about for me. We got Stephanie, Triple H in the ring. Stephanie announces the attendance record for Levi Stadium, which is actually a new stadium, so it wasn't surprising that it was an attendance record.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, unless if you broke the WrestleMania record, what's the point in saying it? You know?
But The Rock comes out after Triple H talking smack about Sting, and Stephanie talking smack about everybody in the company, WWE, and Triple H owning WWE and everything. And The Rock comes in, does his typical Rock stuff, and the fans were going nuts for Rock because they couldn't stop chanting his name. The millions and the millions of fans couldn't stop chanting, couldn't stop saying Rocky. And I would be the same way. But it was just an awesome moment to have the Triple H and Rock thing that we saw earlier last year. I believe it was this year or just before the end of the year, but they had a segment on SmackDown, which was very good. And then now they have another segment on WrestleMania, and it involves Ronda Rousey, who teams up with The Rock, who's in Furious 7, which I'm going to go see on Friday. New movie with The Rock in it. But I thought the segment was awesome. Definitely had its moments. It was maybe a little long, but moments, and the fans were really, really into it. And it kind of teases another Triple H Rock thing, which might happen next year, because there's been rumors about Rock and Brock. There's been rumors about Triple H and Rock. Even Ronda Rousey in a match next year. That would be very interesting. I don't know how she'd lose. I would guess she would win that match.
Yeah.
That was awesome as well, and I thought she did a really good job. Obviously, I expected The Rock to do a really good job, and Ronda Rousey did a really good job as well. Stephanie was pretty good, and awesome segment. I just really enjoyed it, and it was lots of fun. Dylan, go ahead.
All right. The one complaint I have about this was that it was super long. This was got to be 20 minutes long, at least. But there were a lot of positives to it. For one, you got Triple H and the Rock in the ring together, which is always great. You're gonna get entertainment no matter what. They cut really good promos. Rock in his typical later years just throws out jabs left and right. So it was always good to hear.
The Terminator one was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Go back and dress up like Terminator.
I also like the kind of R-rated one. This is something I wasn't expecting. It's like Ronda Rousey's in the ring, and Rock goes, "That look right there is the look where she's gonna beat you up and jump rope with your fallopian tubes." I was like, "Holy crap! I didn't know you could actually say that on PG programming."
And then it's The Rock. I don't think it matters. And then he comes, and then he's like, "Did you see The Rock?" He was like this, like jumping up and down.
Yeah, it was funny. It was really funny. The best part, I think, was that there was a lot of tension. You know, Triple H and Rock are staring each other down, and they have a long pause after Stephanie tells him to get out of the ring, and Rock gets Ronda Rousey, and it builds some interest, because you're like, well, is Ronda Rousey actually going to have a wrestling match? Because she's dominated UFC. There's literally no opponents left for her, so let's go to the UFC or the WWE and do something there.
I think her versus Stephanie would be interesting.
I feel like it would be interesting, and we all know that Ronda would win. It's just, I don't know if it would be like a wrestling contest, or would they have like, UFC, because all Ronda would have to do is just tap her out. It wouldn't take like 5 seconds. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. But the good thing is, that the best part is that it builds interest into a Rock Triple H WrestleMania match, which we never got to see in the prime at a WrestleMania at least.
Should have happened at WrestleMania 2000.
It did, but we also had Mick Foley and Big Show.
No, I said it should have.
Oh, it should have happened. Should have happened. Sorry. Yeah, it really should have, because those guys were on fire in 2000. One of my favorite Iron Man match of all time occurred with those two at Judgment Day 2000. So yeah, a lot of great stuff here. My only complaint was just a little too long, but that's really all I can say about it.
I think that was sort of the fans' fault, to be honest.
That's true. They did chant a lot in this thing, but I mean,
really into it. Why I felt kind of okay with it, because like with the Rock coming out, and then that was a long pause. Stephanie was like being pissed off about it. That was funny as well. And then Ronda Rousey, and that reaction was huge. And yeah, so I thought it was well done. A little long, as Dylan said, but it's passable. And it was definitely a good thing. It was a good thing that this was the reason why the Andre the Giant Battle Royal was not on the show. I think that's better than having some stupid like concert or something like that.
I think it's acceptable to have this on the show instead of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That would be like one of the few things I would do that for, you know. So it kind of shows that this might have been unexpected. This might have happened last minute, because I mean, they would have had this thing.
Well, because the Rock was just on SNL last night in New York, so he had to fly. I bet the guy barely had any sleep, had to fly, get in San Fran, and then perform at WrestleMania. So good thing. Thanks, Rock, coming to WrestleMania. Thanks, Ronda, for coming to WrestleMania and providing a moment.
Yes, and it also builds up to hopefully a WrestleMania match that I'll be going to next year. Sorry, I'm just going to keep saying that. But surprisingly, this is the 5th WrestleMania in a row Rock has been in, has at least done something as. Which we thought, you know, like 7 or 8 years ago that would never happen. But he's at least done something in 5 WrestleMania, so I am very happy about that.
Well, yeah, it's kind of crazy that Rock, out of all people, is the one to come back all the time when he's the most busy out of all the stars, including Stone Cold. And you know, but whatever. Next up, we got the main event: Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, John Cena Jr. in the main event. Dylan loves Roman Reigns. You know, guy wants to give him a blowjob. Anyways, I just want to talk about your guy Paul Heyman and the entertainment that he provided throughout this match. Okay, Paul Heyman was freaking awesome throughout this match. His facial expressions, him counting the suplexes, that was awesome. And just he was like another commentator out there. It was incredible. Best manager of all time. I'll say it.
Yes, he is the best manager. I would like to say before we get into the main event, Paul Heyman, as I've said before on the show, he is the greatest manager in this business. But he does everything right, and I believe this is his first main event at a WrestleMania, doing anything for the guys. I mean, Brock Lesnar had one, but I don't think he was the manager of Brock Lesnar at that time. I think this is his first main event at WrestleMania for Paul Heyman. So it's good. He got his due. He finally got that moment. And he was awesome. The best part was him counting the suplexes. Because he's just, you know, he's like getting ready, and then he's like, eight suplexes. So very good to see Paul Heyman do his stuff at WrestleMania.
All right, this match starts off really predictably, in my opinion. You just got freaking Lesnar doing these crazy athletic things where you're like, damn, Lesnar's a beast, and he's doing like F5s, suplexes. One of my like, has he only done 2 moves? I'm like, it doesn't matter. He's freaking Brock Lesnar. And Brock was bleeding for no apparent reason. I was feeling like he was cut before the match, that he was bleeding to make Roman Reigns look better. I don't know. Like, how can you bleed that bad without even being really touched throughout the match? It's kind of odd.
I felt like it was at the very beginning. I think this is what happened, in my opinion. I felt like when Brock had charged him in the corner early on, I felt like Roman hit him with an elbow, and he just kind of started bleeding in the corner of his eye. That's what I thought happened. But as it went on, we'll see one spot, and he's just gouging in blood. So, yeah, I think that's what happened.
I give respect to Reigns in this match because he took a lot of punishment. That was real punishment. Those knees, those suplexes are real, okay?
Yeah.
That's a lot of punishment that guy took. And one thing is, I didn't like kind of how he was laughing. Like,
yeah.
Didn't do it for me, but whatever. I thought the guy performed well in this match. Lesnar obviously did most of the work, but this match was not the greatest match in terms of technical, but it had a great story throughout the match, and the ending was pure nits.
Yeah.
Rollins coming down, making it a triple threat match at the perfect moment, cashing in. And then, like, he did the one curb stomp. I'm like, why aren't you pinning this guy? And then he does another curb stomp, and I'm like, pin the fucking guy. And then he pins 1, 2, 3. Rollins is champ. I called it on my WrestleMania preview on Raw weeks ago. Dylan knows it. I called it, and I was so happy, and my friends bopping, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel, man? I know that your boy, Paul Heyman's boy, is done as champ now. Where does he go from here? And this was the best Paul to possibly lose by not losing.
Right. My mom, no one was here. No adult figure was here. It was just me and my friend, and we're watching this show, so I can scream as loud as I want to. And I was like freaking out in this match because there was so much stuff going on. Reigns, I don't like the guy. I've said that multiple times on this show. I think Reigns and Cena are our most hated guys on this show. But I'll give credit where credit's due. He took a lot of punishment, as you said. So, for that, thumbs up, I guess. But, he did what he had to do in this match. He did what he had to do in this match. He got it done. Lesnar, freaking boss again. He knows what he's doing in the ring. He can whoop anybody he wants to, and it was really good. The moment I didn't really like, as you said before, the smiling. Didn't really like that part because it kind of took away from Lesnar's offense. Lesnar was getting angry about that. I didn't like that. But obviously the best part of the match is Rollins coming down. I heard that music and I screamed at the top of my lungs because I was so happy. Because I got really scared after Reigns hit 2 spears. I'm like, oh no.
I was just gonna say, I don't know if you felt the same way, but every time Reigns hit a big move, I was like, no.
No. Yeah.
2 years ago. But
because my friend
and Rollins comes down. My friend's like, Rollins. I'm like, hell yeah.
my friend's a huge Reigns fan, and I'm standing over here and I'm just like screaming, and I'm like, no, I don't want Reigns to win this match because he hit like 3 Superman punches and 2 spears. I thought
he was gonna hit 3 Superman punches, 3 spears, and then he was gonna win, and I was gonna be pissed.
I was gonna be the same thing too. And then one of the best WWE decisions I've seen in a long time. Rollins comes out of nowhere. He's cashing in. He hits 2 curb stomps. Well, actually, first of all, he knocks out Reigns out of the off the arena or the ring. So I was happy about that. Then he hit 2 curb stomps on Brock, and he's like, "No, I'm not gonna mess with you because you're gonna just, I'm not gonna be able to pin you." So he does one to Reigns, and he wins the belt. And I was so happy to see this because first of all, it gives the first time we've ever seen a cash in at WrestleMania. It finally happened 10 years after the whole concept of Money in the Bank started. So for that, I give a thumbs up. Rollins, this is the one way I would want Lesnar to lose is to a guy like Rollins. Him pinning Reigns makes a lot of things unpredictable. Because Lesnar still has a title rematch because he didn't get pinned. Reigns still has credit because he never actually lost to the guy he was facing. And Rollins is the new champion, which I'm super happy about. So yeah, I was literally screaming at the top of my lungs because I was so happy when this happened. And Reigns is not your new champion. So thumbs up on that. We're gonna
have a Rollins and Reigns feud coming up, though. He's gonna eventually get that strap.
I mean, I would be okay with that happening, but the thing is that Rollins is the champion right now. He got his big WrestleMania moment, and Reigns didn't win the belt at WrestleMania against Lesnar. That's the part I was freaking out about.
The thing is, like you said, the thing is that Reigns didn't defeat Lesnar. That is the biggest thing for me. Now right. Rollins gets the belt before Reigns, which I also thought is appropriate since Rollins is a hell of a lot more ready than Reigns is to be the champion. And I thought it was a match, great moment, great ending to WrestleMania, and kind of signaled the future of wrestling in the main event with Rollins winning, holding the belt over his head. Good moment. And Rock is here for another 3 years, so maybe he'll win the belt again in the future, but we're going to see a lot more great matches from him. And Reigns, hopefully he can improve. I know you're not a big fan of him, but hopefully he can improve. Because he's going to get the belt. He's going to get the belt eventually. Probably be against Rollins in the future. But I wouldn't be so mad about that because he didn't beat Brock Lesnar. What would you grade this WrestleMania out of 10?
There was a lot of positives. We talked about on former or past Raws. We weren't really excited going into the show. but I think I can say the same for Mitch. This blew our expectations. I didn't think this was going to be a really great show, but I got to give this a very high 9 out of 10.
Wow, 9. Wow,
Yeah,
that's incredible. Where would you
yeah.
rank it in WrestleManias of all time? Where would you rank it?
It's up there. I think I tweeted this out. I don't know if I said this exactly as I check on it right now. I think this is a top 5 WrestleMania, to be honest with you. I
Could
mean,
possibly be. I would have to look back. I think definitely top 10 for sure.
yes,
But
definitely top 10.
I would grade 8.6 out of 10. So giving it an A for me. I would give it an A, 8.6 out of 10. Great show. And just so many things that WWE can do. There are a few things, as I said, that I did. But overall, nothing's perfect. Every fan has a different opinion. They tried to appease as many fans as they could. They did their best job. The Daniel Bryan fans, I'm sure, are happy. Cena fans are happy. You know, WWE fans are happy. Old school happy. Taker won. You know, Rock coming back. Triple H being there. Sting being there. The NWO and DX. Then you got Orton winning. He has a big fan base. So they did a hell of a job appeasing a lot of fans, and even the Lesnar fans, like me, like Dylan, and we fall into other categories. But I think they did a great job handling the main event and the main matches on the card. I can't wait for Raw tomorrow. I think WWE is heading into a very positive direction. I know I said not to that degree, but last year I thought they were going into a positive direction until Daniel Bryan's injury. But this year, I really feel like with Lesnar resigning, with these potential matches at WrestleMania 32, I'm excited for this year coming up in wrestling. How do you feel about this year coming up?
It's going to be a really good year. I am one of the biggest Rollins supporters I think there is out there, or at least I think I am. You know, he's a great wrestler. Sorry for that noise. I feel like, you know, he's just more ready than Reigns. So I am happy he's the new champion. For how long, we don't know. But getting him the big moment at WrestleMania shows positive. And I want to ask you a question here. Does any of these matches on this WrestleMania put themselves in the top 25 on our list? I want to ask you that.
Holy crap! I don't know.
I'm going to say this right now. I think 2 matches made it on my list. I don't know about yours.
2?
But I feel like 2.
Wow.
Yep.
I don't think I'd have any.
On the whole top 25?
On the top 25, okay? I don't think any would be on the top 25, but they're all really good. I'm just saying, I don't think I would put them in the top 25.
I'll make this argument here. So, first match, Sting and Triple H. Okay? And I say this right now. If we looked at our criteria, we had 3 grading things, or whatever, categories. In the ring, crowd, and historic. This match gets a 10 out of 10 for historic-wise, because with Sting's first match, it's very big. You know, everybody's excited for that first match of Sting to get in the WWE.
Make that argument, yeah.
Crowd, I also think gets a 10 because they were excited for this match. They were very excited to see Triple H get in the ring with them, and I feel like once we got more members in the match, like NWO and DX, they got even hotter for it. So I feel like that was a really great crowd. Wrestling-wise, I think they did very well in the ring. I'd say probably between a 7 or an 8. They did very well in terms of what they did in the ring, like just regular wrestling, but the story as well played into it, and it got to become a really good match at the end. So I feel like Sting versus Triple H, I think, has to be on this list somehow, somewhere.
Maybe, probably. It's just like right now after WrestleMania, it's really hard to think about that for me.
It's hard to think about it, but I feel like even though that happened, Sting versus Triple H, I think, has to go down as one of the best matches. That's my opinion. I don't think it's top 10. But I feel like it has to be in between 20 and 11, in my opinion. The other match that goes on this list, you might be surprised. I think that's Lesnar and Reigns.
I would say that. I would say that was the second best match in terms of historic and like things that happened in the match. I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say to the people out there, it's definitely 10 for historic because we got Rollins as the new champion.
Oh no! Wait up. We'll see on that.
What's that?
We'll see how they treat Rollins.
We'll treat it, but even though, I mean, we had our first cash-in into WrestleMania. That itself is very historic.
Yes.
You've got the future taking over in the main event. You've got Lesnar, who might not be the future, but he's still in a main attraction. People are going to watch Lesnar. You got Reigns, who I don't positively like, but he's still a future guy. He's still going to be a top guy. And you got Rollins coming in there at the end. The crowd, was super excited once this match happened because I thought this was going to be an awful match, and it turned into a really the crowd was getting really into it. And for match-wise, I feel like it went really well. It was hard-hitting like the Cena ones were, and it turned out to be a really good contest. So I think, in my opinion, both of those matches have to be on the list.
Maybe. I think maybe. I'm just going to say maybe. I'm not going to say, I'm not bold like you. I'm not going to say that they're going to be on the list right now. But definitely, what would you rank the matches in order? And also, I want you to meet your top.
Say that second part one more time.
Last, I would have the Divas match.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Battle Royal. Then the Rusev Cena. Then the tag team match. Then oof, that's tough. I don't know. Then Taker and Bray. Then the Intercontinental Championship. Then Randy Orton and Rollins. Then then Lesnar and Reigns. Then Sting and Triple H.
All right, another bold move right there, getting Sting Triple H to the number one spot. I've got the card here. So what's that?
Because of nostalgia.
So I'll make my list. I'll rank it from worst to best. I feel that the Divas match was the worst, but again, still good.
Okay.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put my picture there just in case. But yeah, Divas match just got to go to the bottom. Still a good match, but not anything special. Then I'll go Battle Royal. I didn't really like that Battle Royal that much. Then I'll go Tyson Kidd Cesaro tag team match. I think it was a good match, but it's kind of not. I don't think it was that significant. Then I would go Rusev Cena, and then after that it gets really difficult to grade who gets better matches. I'm gonna have to go with Undertaker Bray Wyatt next because I still think it was a good match, but it wasn't the top thing. There's so many good matches on the show that I had to put it down.
I think it was good for not reasons involving technical wrestling. Thought it was good for different reasons.
Yeah, story put it over, and the whole kind of thing with the chemistry between them, I think, helped a lot. Let's see here. Then I'm gonna go the ladder match, and then I'm gonna go Rollins and Orton, and then I'll go same way as you, triple threat, and then Sting and Triple H.
All right. Who are your top 5 performers?
Top 5 performers. Wow, I'm gonna have to go with this one on the spot too. Number 5 performer for me has got to be. Let's see here. You're gonna hate when I say this, but I feel like John Cena gets the number 5 performer just because. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I just want to get a performance out of it. Get a little funny out of you. That was good. No, number 5 for me would probably go to Bray Wyatt. I feel like even though he lost his match, he did really well. He sold for Taker quite well, and they put on a good performance. That's all I gotta say. Number 4.
Sorry.
What's that?
Re-say that.
I was just saying. Okay, number 5 I was saying was Bray Wyatt because they had good chemistry in their match, and I feel like they did really well together. Number 4, I'm gonna go with Randy Orton.
Okay.
What's that? Okay, Randy Orton. Okay. Number 4. Okay, gotcha. Number 4, Randy Orton. He did well in his match. It was a good match against Rollins. Number 3, I'm gonna go with Sting. Sting and Triple H, I kind of feel like they have to share a spot. I think they had.
I have them sharing a spot.
Yeah, I think they did a really good match together, so they kind of have to share a spot together. Number 2 performer, I think, has to go to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, it's actually kind of hard because I want to put Daniel Bryan on this list, and I don't know if I should put him number 2, but I don't want to leave Lesnar out. But I'll put Bryan in the spot because he won the IC belt. He did something enjoyable on the show. And number 1, Seth Rollins. Great match and at the biggest moment of the night. So there you go.
All right. My honorable mention is Ambrose because of a few crazy spots. Him and Daniel Bryan are honorable mentions. Number 5, I thought was did a good job in the match with Taker. Carried that match for the most part. Then we got number 4, Triple H and Sting sharing a spot. Number 3, Randy Orton. Number 2, Brock Lesnar. And number 1, the man of WrestleMania 31, Seth Rollins, the new WWE champ.
Whoa.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for this review and recap of WrestleMania 31. Great show. Dylan gave it a 9. I gave it an 8. So we'll see tomorrow on Raw. Hopefully you guys join us for our Raw review tomorrow. We're going to be doing a live Raw review, most likely, like 90% sure. So we'll see you tomorrow. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Subscribe to Dylan at WWE The Shield. And subscribe to The Bottom Line View for more wrestling. Thank you. Peace.
Peace.